Welcome once more to another episode of Law and You, where we take off from where we left off last week. And I still have the legal practitioner with me, Emmanuel Obakwalo. Thanks for joining, Emmanuel.
It's a privilege.
All right, still on police brutality and remedies in Nigeria. Let's focus on the courts and how citizens can seek redress in court. Because if there are issues of this nature, how can citizens seek redress in court?
Firstly, the victim or victim's family can now challenge the activities of the police in court. And one is to seek for an order to enforce the fundamental rights of the victim. Two, one of the remedy to be sought for is monetary in nature, and that has been the most sought for remedy, where victims or family of victims, as the case would be, would want monetary compensation to cool off from the brutal activity or activities of the police melted upon them or their person. So, and the police, even when the court grants that order upon evaluation of the facts and figures before the court, to even get that money is another step, different step to be taken.
Okay, you mean executing the judgment?
Judgment.
It's another challenge. Herculean task.
Herculean one.
We've always had it here in this part of the country.
Herculean, a very strong one. And the counsel that even got the judgment from the beginning may end up not being the one to even execute the judgment, because the execution of that judgment is a different exercise.
Okay, but we've always had this in this part of the world, I mean to say. But let's have a comparative study, like what you just said, executing judgments of this nature. Is it like that in developed climes? And what are they doing that we can also emulate?
No, it is not like that. Again, it is born out of corruption. Corruption is the bane of every challenge.
Okay, are you saying by this that the hand of the judiciary may be twisted, or it could be influenced? When you say corruption, how does it affect the judiciary in this regard?
Not on the side of the judiciary, because the judiciary has given judgment already.
Okay.
The judiciary has given judgment.
Okay, so how does this play out negatively?
The judiciary that has given judgment, so you serve the judgment on the police, the parties in the suit. When you serve the judgment on them, you will need to, in a sane society, with all due respect, in a sane society, they ought to by themselves allow the execution of the judgment to flow. Hence the court has given the judgment, because they had a counsel in court who defended them. And the court in its wisdom has come out to say, no, this is the position with the facts and figures available before me. This is the position. So let this victim get some remedy. But the agency involved, like a matter I did, after getting judgment, we served the police. You could see wonders. And I got information that, okay, we need to file the police so that you will get the proceeds of the judgment. A particular bank where the police has money, we brought the bank in. Before the next day, they went to remove all their monies from that bank account.
Well, this is an indictment against the police, but
it is not an indictment. I'm telling you my experience.
But all of this you've just said, we're going to balance the story and see how it goes, because I should be interviewing them in this respect. But let's just to let you know, the program is brought to you courtesy of Noah Attorneys, a firm of legal practitioners based in Benin City, Nigeria. You can ask your questions, the numbers right in on the screen, and will be treating it, and that could also help us to churn out a new episode. I am discussing with the legal practitioner Emmanuel Obakpolo, who is a custodian of the law, and we've always had opportunity to enjoy your robust knowledge in this frame as regards law and you. Now let's see how these judgments, like you said, because if there needs to be an execution of this judgment and they are not executed, it means a law enforcement agency is having a lapse in that direction. And again, what does the provisions of the Constitution say, which we always say is the ground norm? In cases where there are breaches, in cases where there are no executions as expected of the judgment that comes from the judiciary, are there no sanctions on such agencies that fail to help execute the judgment?
There are sanctions.
So what are the sanctions, and how can we get
there are sanctions.
Get it off?
If the sanction is criminal in nature, maybe a committer to prison, you can now bring 5 from 48, 49 to commit the violators of the judgment to prison. You can. But where it is monetary in nature, that is what we are. That is our discussion now. Do you file for a committer to prison? No. The victim, the judgment creditor now will not benefit from his judgment, because the judgment is monetary in nature.
No. If it's monetary in nature, it's expected that the agency should pay the victim a certain amount of money. And if the agency fails to pay the victim, there are ways used to sanction such agencies. Are you saying that the law is not well grounded?
That is why
in this matter. Are you also saying that there should be an opportunity where we look forward to, reformed bills, that could also help tackle this act, or maybe bring into the act more refinement of it, so that we can have all of these issues, tackled? Is that what you're saying? That there should be more reforms in this act?
Mr. Philip, our laws are undergoing reform by the second. And as we are talking just now, there are many aspects of the laws that need reforms in order for it to meet with the trend of events.
Exactly.
Crime today is so sophisticated, it's scientific, it's technological. We need laws that will meet that trend. The execution of judgment is procedural. It is the court that executes its judgment.
Oh, is the court that
executes its judgment.
Oh. I was thinking it's the other way around, where it gives judgments, then the law enforcement agency executes.
The court executes its judgment.
So if the court executes its judgment, why we would be having issues with this, where we are saying that the judgment is not being executed? So if there is a judgment being brought out by the court and it fails in execution, it means the court should be held liable. Is that what you're saying?
No. Get me?
Because if you say it's the court that executes its judgment, why didn't it execute that particular judgment, like that has to do with proceeds?
Where the court wants to execute its judgment, the court needs agencies to assist it to execute its judgment.
Here you go again. So which means the law enforcement agencies are brought in to help.
And which is who? The police. And now you are executing the court judgment against the police. And with the norm, what we have made norm today, of corruption in the society.
I think there's a little problem. Sorry to cut in. There's a little problem, because if you look at the law jargon that says memo judes in cortetua, you can't be a judge in your own case. Now, if you are laughing, now if you are bringing the law enforcement agencies or agents into executing the judgment of the court, and that pertains or that concerns the law enforcement agents, how do you expect to get a relief from such execution?
That is the challenge.
Does that not also show that there is a lacuna and that there is need for us to have a remedy in this act so that we can have a seamless flow of these executions?
Mind you, Mr. Philip, this judgment we are talking about now, the execution of this judgment we are talking about now, is on the police.
Exactly.
where there is police brutality.
Exactly. So
it's
normal for you to expect that they will follow through the way the judgment is.
You know, the judgment,
because it concerns them.
The police that we are talking about is vicariously liable for the offense committed by a policeman or policemen. I want you to get that.
Yeah.
The police is vicariously liable now. So if you are executing the judgment on an individual, it's a different ball game. But this time you are executing the judgment on the police.
Exactly. So how do we expect to get results from that angle?
That's
issue. What I'm saying. It's not the issue. We know it's the issue. It's not the issue. You are not running away from it. We are saying, how do we remedy such a challenge?
There could be a reform
that pertains to the police.
That's
exactly what I was telling you. That means we are looking forward to reformation.
Yes,
of this
reforms.
act.
Because if, for instance,
if we are expecting reformations of this act, then are you giving the responsibility to another body entirely and not the police to execute?
It could be like that, like the National Human Rights Commission or an agency should be responsible for that. That where there is a court judgment against the police, so and so and so agency should assist.
But common sense demands that should have
common sense is not law.
The ramifications.
Common sense is not law. Just as morality is not law, but morality and law, they go pari passu. They move hand in hand. So the execution of judgment, particularly the enforcement of a fundamental right, when that right is enforced by the courts, then the proceeds of that judgment, where it is monetary, is a very Herculean task. That is where you begin. You will even hear that the policeman who committed who violated the right of that citizen has been posted to unknown direction. Deliberately.
Well, these are all indictments, and
deliberately.
We're going to stretch it beyond
especially this. Where that policeman has what they call connections, quote and unquote now.
Okay.
So you see that we have a systemic problem. Our problem is systemic, and more importantly, our problem is attitudinal. Because when you know that this thing is wrong, you don't do it. Especially where it has to do with agencies. Okay.
Thank you so much. Well, it's law on you, and the numbers riding on the screen is for you to react towards. Pouch a message to us, a short message. You can do that as SMS, and of course you can also send us a WhatsApp message, and we will be responding to that, and that could also guide us in our next conversation on the program Law and You, that is brought to you courtesy of Law Attorneys, firm of legal practitioners based in Benin City, Nigeria. Now let's look at how we can tackle this headlong. Most especially, you brought it up some time back, and you made mention of the fact that take for instance, during an engagement the citizens have with the police on the road, for instance, like stop and search, where they search everywhere, even getting to their phones. And what is the limit? Because we understand that there was an order given by the Inspector General of Police some time back that the police should not, search the phones of the citizenry, but I don't know if there are conditions tied to that. And again, we also see exceptions where policemen try to manhandle or brutalize those who film them while such incidents are ongoing. And again, we've also seen that from reports from the IG that it's not wrong if their activities are being videoed or filmed. So how do we draw a difference? Because it's like the big man saying something, and then the followers or those under him are doing something differently entirely, and there seems not to be a way to tackle this headlong. So how do you find this, and how can we tackle it, the nitty-gritty in this?
The Inspector General of Police, with his order, if you call it, declaration if you choose to, pronouncement if you think so, amounts to nothing. They are mere words. It's just mere window dressing. He's only trying to exonerate himself from some of the complaints by the citizens. We thought the police act that emerged after the End SARS protest will resolve all of these challenges. But today, that police act itself has so much lacuna. Then again, we have the Administration of Criminal Justice Law. Did they address any issues in respect to that? So, the declaration of the man at the ends of affair is not enough. There should be law written in black and white saying no police officer in any guise, manner or form.
Are you saying by now we don't have it in our laws?
Listen, if we have it, why is the man making declaration?
But constitutionally, no policeman, except he has a search warrant, that would have that liberty to ransack one's belongings, even one's car, except there's a search warrant.
Yes.
Except there is a case or there's an issue that happened within that vicinity, that demanded that they do that, because they have right to do so if it's a directive from the police force, because they are supposed to protect the citizen and the property of the citizenry. But if they don't have such search warrant, or they don't have such orders given them, or something like that didn't happen in such vicinity, I think they don't have the right to do that. So
they don't have the right. But what is the punishment to be melted on them?
You should be telling us.
It takes a brave citizen to hold a policeman or policeman responsible to challenge their infringement on his or her rights. Today, even where there's a complaint that comes to you as a lawyer, and you say, oh, let's take this step. Even the citizens will be telling you, this will amount to an exercise in futility. Because at the end of the one is that policeman who committed such an infringement, you may end up not seeing him or her.
Will he leave the force? Or
by the time the complaint is lodged,
okay,
you will not see him in that division.
Maybe moved to another division.
So we have a lot. That's why just now the police force is pretending to discipline some of those persons, and that is where it is obvious. Like the one we saw where a foreigner came into Nigeria, was driving a bike, and those two policemen were now demanding for money, and unknowingly to them the bike has a camera that videoed all their activities with her, and she went and tendered it before the police authority. We saw that those persons were dismissed. They were disciplined. Okay. Yes. Okay. But how many situations?
So that's a positive response. That by the police
in every 1,000 tackling such
misconduct.
In every 1,000,
those who are in the force.
In every 1,000, you will see one.
Okay.
Is that a pass mark? So, the citizens themselves need to understand their rights. The citizens themselves need to know where to make complaints. First, how to make the complaint and where to make the complaint.
Okay.
Then, 3, when such complaints are made, the police itself should investigate properly, because one of the functions of the police is investigation.
Okay. We've seen, I will want your practical response. How you will deal with this situation. You must have heard it, but let me just launch it. We've seen situations why such activities of the police going on, some will have to video it, and in the process, when some of these policemen find out that you are videoing what they are doing, they get the phones and they smash it and get the person involved in that video, brutalized. Now, if you have this first
arrested
incident, arrested, yes. How would you want the citizen to channel his case? How does he go about it to make sure that justice is done?
Good. Get a lawyer. A brave one for that
From the
matter.
point he's been arrested.
Yes, get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer.
Yes. Get a lawyer. And a brave one.
Whereby if he or she doesn't have the wherewithal to get a lawyer. Or do you mean just get a lawyer with that money?
There are 101 lawyers who would ready to take.
How does he or she reach a lawyer when his or her phone has been smashed?
And again, that is where there must be evidence.
I want you to follow it.
There must be evidence that
I want you to follow it the way it is.
There must be, at times the police will smash that phone, destroy the phone, and go away with the carcasses of that phone. So where is the evidence? And you hear the authority, by the time you petition, they begin to ask you, where is the evidence? So such situation, such challenge is attitudinal.
So first thing you said, get a lawyer. And then when you get a lawyer, you explain all that transpired.
Yes.
And then what happens?
The lawyer knows what to do.
Okay.
The lawyer knows the right steps to take.
So for those viewers who have been involved in such acts, they can. Okay, let's look at situations where some have already experienced this. Is there a way to reopen such cases?
Yes.
Okay.
Particularly where you have evidence.
Okay.
Because one thing those men that are involved in that thing, that activity will do, is to create fear on the citizen. That's why you brutalize somebody, you destroy the person's evidence, and you arrest the person. And you know what? They may even charge that person to court and charge the person for treason. You see today in Nigeria, anything you say that does not go well with those in authority, you'll be charged for treason. Even when you try to say, this is my right, you want to exercise your right, you'll be charged for treason. So treason is now the order of the day. And the reason why you are being charged for treason is to make it difficult for that person to get bail. That is the reason.
Okay, we are doing this because we want more of accountability from the police force. We want to see them accountable for their actions, what they do on the roads, and how they accost citizens, and how they probably abuse and brutalize citizens. We want to see them account for it. We want to see the police force do the needful to make sure that trainings, programs are engaged with the subordinates or the officers to make sure that they are able to treat humanly people or citizens that they come across every day. Now let's see how we can put this to rest, looking at ways in which we can draw the attention of the civil society organizations, for instance. Are they doing enough in making police accountable for their actions?
Unfortunately, we are all guilty. For instance, the story, my experience I told you on Tuesday this week, I wasn't the only lawyer that passed that place, that applied that road that day. This attitude of saying it doesn't concern me is a problem with us. And that is what has taken us to where we are today. Because the only time or moment that I can show interest on an issue is when I am a direct beneficiary of that thing.
Or when you are a victim.
Or I'm a victim. That is the only time. But when you see another man suffers unjustly, you say it doesn't concern me.
But you can't take away this from the civil society organizations, for instance.
Now, the civil society,
they usually come into this.
Yeah, the civil society
find a way around it.
The civil society.
Are you saying that they are also embroidered in corruption, or there are corruption cases that may also want them or make them to have a setback in this fight?
You want me to tell you the truth?
Of course, you are here to.
Even the civil society today, everybody is looking for money. The essence why we have so many groups in the guise of civil society is money.
Okay.
And that can be tagged to be what? Corruption. So corruption is the bane of all the challenges.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel Obakwolo. Always interested in having a chat with you. Well, so much has been done in this aspect of police brutality, remedies in Nigeria. We'll catch you sometime next week on a fresh episode. I am Philip Amo Gyupo. Goodbye.